Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I appreciate you coming and I love all of you. I don't normally go on camera, so bear with me. I'll probably ramble and honestly, I'm really nervous. Um, Normally I'd have, bangs, pretty highlights, but hashtag coronavirus can't get to a hair salon. So anyway, I had no intention of addressing this. I talked on Julie's stream. I kind of got everything out. And when I finished, I felt really good. And I was hoping that maybe hearing it might help people see, might help Charlotte see how I was feeling and, um, just how deeply it affected me. And for me, that was going to be the end of it. It's been going on for like 3 weeks now, and it's gone on too long, and way too many people have been hurt. I've watched creators that I love hurt. I've watched fellow subscribers that have come in and said, "Hey, this hurt. I feel bad watching it. It's affected me." And I'm just kind of at the point where I want to see it end. I thought of us all as friends, and it really does hurt me to see just, how things ended. And, you know, do I think we're ever going to be friends again? No. But I really hope we can all come to a mutual agreement because in the end, I think we're all good people. All of us. Charlotte, Julie, AZ, me, anybody that was involved. Christ conflict, I think at heart we're all good people. And my main motivation is just to put the information out there. Decide what you want to. Agree with it, disagree with it, that's fine, but the information will be there. I do know AZ has more of the screenshots regarding what happened to her. I have what I've since found out about what happened with me. Because they did come from a private server. I did redact the names. It's kind of more grace than I was given. People pretty much were throwing me the wind. And so I didn't have to do it. But by the same token, I wouldn't want someone to take my private information tied to my name. And I'm trying to show the respect that that I would want given to me. So I guess without further ado, I'm going to start at the beginning. So I'm going to address what happened in Charlotte's stream. And I will take accountability for the fact that ultimately, inadvertently, I was the catalyst for what happened. I was watching Ren's stream and I saw him, keep singing about Charlotte from her state. Charlotte last name from her state. And then it was, AZ's first name and her location. And he said it kind of repeatedly. And, you know, that upset me. And I really wanted them to know. So I came into the stream and I said, or into the Discord server, and I said, guys, you need to look, Ren's doxing you. Which, looking back, I guess it's kind of questionable as to whether it was really doxing, but for sure it was bad form. It didn't need to be said. But, in retrospect, I can say, well, was it doxing? Was it not? I don't know. But anyway, that was the initial catalyst. And multiple people started bouncing back and forth kind of on the, Ren's a terrible person. Ren does this, Ren does that. It just kind of, it ballooned from there. And then AZ came in and she was upset. She's like, I'm tired of this. It doesn't matter what Discord server I go into. It's Ren did this, Ren did that, Ren did this, Ren did that. she's like, "When is it gonna stop? All you have to do is just stop watching. If you stop watching, what he says isn't gonna affect you. Stop going into his streams. Stop talking to him. All you're doing is making things worse. Just stop. Just leave him alone." And, you know, I'm sorry. There's nothing that she said that was incorrect. She was upset. And, exactly what she said is, all these people, you're going in and you're upsetting him. And all it's doing is turning him loose on the people he could actually see, the creators. All the people that are behind the scenes are just kind of sliding out and nobody sees it happen because they're just subs. He knows that subs are involved, but he doesn't know the names. So in essence, the people getting targeted are people like Waxy and Charlotte and AZ, people with channels, people that he can put a face to the name. And so that's what she said. And it was a very valid statement. There was, in my mind, there's, she might have snapped a little bit, but I don't feel like it was incredibly out of line. She was angry and she was venting and she had a right to be, because she's right. It didn't matter what server you went to. And I think I was in, I want to say 3 at the time, and it wouldn't matter where you went. That was the topic of conversation. You know, what was his stream about today? What panel did he go on? What stream did he try to sneak into? It was a constant. And I had for a while been getting upset about it, and I'd see people go into stream after stream and on panel after panel, and in essence, it didn't make the situation better. It was just prolonging something that honestly probably could have ended. And anyway, that was kind of how it started. And people kept talking about it after she left. She went to bed. It was kind of late for her time. And, people kept talking about it. And I figured, okay, they're going to vent about it for a while. I'll get up in the morning and it'll have died down and things will be fine. And I get up and the same people are still, Ren did this, Ren did that. Did everybody see what happened to Charlotte? Blah, 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 blah. And then there's the people who are like, well, I don't understand. AZ was so upset and I just don't get it. Why was she so mad? Why was she so mad? I don't understand. We're just venting. We need a place to vent. And this is supposed to be our safe place. And why can't we just, vent? And it was kind of just an over and over and over thing. And AZ has the screenshots to back that up. And it just kind of went on. And after I think it was like maybe noon, 1 o'clock my time. I can't remember off the top of my head. AZ comes in and it's clear, all you have to do is scroll back and she can see the things that were said. And it's like every time somebody came in, a certain person would be like, well, I don't understand why AZ's mad. Or, AZ left the server, or, blah, blah, blah. And it was the same person. It's like, you know, how many times do you have to announce it? Do you really have to announce it to every single person when they come in? Because to me, that's a little excessive, but that's kind of where the situation lied. And so AZ came back in and she saw what was said about her and she was rightfully upset. She was the topic of conversation. Either it was Ren or it was how AZ overreacted, and it just ballooned. And honestly, it was the same people. Actually, there was, I think, 1 or 2 that were primarily fueling it. And so AZ comes in and, she's like, people need to leave me alone on Twitter. And so I was like, well, I'm not on Twitter. And she's like, well, I wasn't talking to you. Like every single thing that AZ said, one particular person would take personally every time when AZ was, in essence, talking to everyone. And, once again, she said, what you're doing is hurting us. What you're doing is hurting the people that have channels. And it's like it was going over heads, and it just made no sense. So, AZ got mad. She's like, the next person, she said something along the lines of, the next person that gets up and speaks about him, I'm going to publicly drag or something like that. And, that was her way of saying, just stop, just stop poking and just let it die down. And, she got angry and she's like, look, I'm sorry if members are upset, but I'm not going to have a Discord anymore. This is toxic. I don't need it. It's just making me upset. And she left. She left all the servers. She shut down her Discord and she left. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it'll die down. But it didn't. I mean, it was like comment after comment after comment. And I got annoyed. And so I just turned my Discord off. I just shut it off. And I came in later that night and I just wanted to talk to people. I miss people that I talked to, and I thought, okay, well, things probably died down and I can come in and, just chit chat. And I come in and it was still going on. Like, this is 24 hours after the stream, and it was still being talked about. People were still running their mouths. People still were angry. People were upset. And I'm like, I don't get it. So I come in and, I said, I made a post of my own because I was just tired of it. And I said, I was going to come back in and chat, but I see 24 hours later, it's still being drug out. Did Daisy overreact? Maybe a little bit. But I've literally gone through the general chat since it happened, and she is gone, but yet it's still not being dropped. She left because somebody else had to get the last word in. I'm trying to understand why we're ripping a friend apart, and it makes me question the motivation. Like, seriously, how many times is she going to tell the chat that AZ left? How many times is she going to say she doesn't understand why AZ is mad? AZ was doxxed, which again, that's kind of questionable. That's beside the point. There are people that are poking the bear, while a select few are the ones with targets on their back. I don't understand how people can't understand how that feels. This last week has literally sucked the life out of me. I don't know how AZ and Charlotte and the others have taken it for so long, but there are those that just keep it going in chat saying stuff, but then flying under the radar. They don't seem to understand that they're making things 1,000,000 times worse for the rest of us. I mean, fuck. Ren accused me solely of being the reason he lost his Twitter. I wasn't the only one, but I took 100% of the heat. When subs say something, the subs don't get most of the heat. It's AZ, Charlotte, and Waxy. This has to stop. And seeing what is happening behind AZ's back just hurts. I don't understand why people can't just let it go, but maybe that's why Ren and Aaron are winning, because no one can let things go. I love you all, and I don't know what to do, to be honest. And I left. It was just too much. So I didn't leave the server, but I turned my Discord off again. Now, in the meantime, things were starting to happen with Katie Joy. And that was a whole situation all in itself. And I'll get into that in a minute. So anyway, the next day, a couple other people did speak up for AZ. I remember seeing Stacy and Kim make some comments kind of along the same lines that, they didn't understand why we were still talking about her when she wasn't there. And at some point, Charlotte came back in, and her response really hurt because honestly, all she had to do was scroll up in the chat and she would have seen what was happening. It didn't you didn't have to go far to see it. It was pretty much a constant thing for at this point, start at 10 p.m., 10 the next day, 2 p.m. So I think that's like 36 hours. So I mean, this wasn't like a short-term thing. This happened for a long time. And so Charlotte comes in and she says, okay, so where in here has anyone drug AZ? I haven't seen it, so someone please point me in the right direction. I've done nothing but try and stop this from breaking up friendships, and I'm the bad guy now. Maybe I should just delete the whole damn server. It's not worth it anymore. And again, it was hurtful because literally all you had to do was scroll up, maybe a page, and I mean, it was all there. It was just over and over and over and over and over. And AZ got mad, and I can't remember if it was earlier that day or the next day. I think it was earlier that the same day that AZ had gotten on and she had her stream where she pretty much called everybody out. And it wasn't directed at any one particular person. It was pretty much directed at everybody who they were hate watching, but then they were taking it, everything personally from Ren. And so they'd get angry. And it was just that back and forth of he would do a stream and he would upset people. So they would do a stream or get on a panel and they would upset him. And then he would get angry. So he would do it again. And so in essence, that was, it was kind of the entire group of us that she was directing it to. She's like, just stop it, just let it end. I'm telling you, just let it end. And again, there was a couple people that took that very personally. And it's the same people that had taken everything else personally. And she did name that person, so I don't feel a need to do it. Watch her video and, you know. So anyway, um, that was kind of where things went with AZ. Now I'm going to move on to the Katie Joy situation. And honestly, what I've seen and what I've heard in the time since that happened hurts more. I understand Katie Joy's motivation. I understand why, I understand why I was named. You know, I could be honest, the way things played out, I got scared, and in looking back, I had no reason to because I mean, even if, the police came knocking at my door that day, it would have been easy to clear my name. That wasn't hard because I could give them, computers, I could give them, my router, I could give them everything, and it would have proved that I was innocent. But at the time, it at the time everything just kind of hit me, and because of the location, because of where I live, because it's a small town, it was scary. And am I upset at the things that were said about me by her? Very much so. It hurt, but I also know, just from some things she showed me, when she thought that I was involved, you know just from seeing the things that she was sent, I get it. These are things that no one should have to see, and I feel genuinely bad for her for the situation that, it's not a situation anyone should ever have to go through. So, I'm really upset, and I wish that my name never would have been blasted out there. But I also can see where she came from. So, in the interim, AZ and I were talking, Julie and I were talking. AZ got up on her stream and she publicly supported me. And I can't tell her to this day how much that meant to me. I was incredibly alone. I was scared, and having someone to talk to, I don't think she'll ever understand just how much that meant. And Julie Virgo was also there for me. She was the only one that spoke out for me publicly on Twitter. Um, it was a very sad situation. Um, as for PJ, PJ did reach out to me. She asked if I wanted her to talk to Katie Joy. I think I said something like, I don't know if it'll do any good. Um, she reached out to her. I don't know the context of the DMs that went between them. And to be honest, I don't really care. That's between them. In the same time, she and I were bouncing ideas off each other, trying to figure out who, maybe it really was, and I genuinely thought she was on my side. When Katie Joy showed me the screenshot of my Discord, honestly, I never dreamed it was PJ. I had no reason to think that. You know, I thought PJ was helping me. And, in terms of the Discord, I honestly had thought it was somebody else. It never dawned, 'cause I'm thinking to myself, well, why would PJ show her a screenshot of a Discord that Katie didn't even know existed? To me, it made no sense. So when I said I was betrayed, I didn't think I was talking about PJ. I honestly thought that it was someone else in my server, and I won't say the name, but I I at no point I couldn't understand, and to this day I still can't understand why PJ would show a Discord server that A wasn't a hate server and B Katie Joy had no knowledge of. It to this day it makes no sense. And you know, her motivations are her motivations, and I'm not here to dispute them. But for her to get up and make 3 streams, talking about how, you know, I knew it was her and, the things that I said were hurtful and, whatever. To me, it's like she missed the point, and I think a lot of people did. You know, I was in a really hard situation, and when you have someone in your DMs that, you know, keeps saying things and nothing that you say in return, it's like the things that I was saying weren't being listened to. And again, it's because of the situation Katie was in. And I'm not upset. I can't be upset about that. But, people don't seem to understand that when you're in a situation like that, it's kind of like when when the police question you, but you didn't really do it and you're scared and, paranoia, I was already scared, but now I'm more scared because, now I'm being told things like, well, maybe you were threatened or, maybe they made you do these things. And it was clear that there wasn't anything that I was going to be able to say that would in any way deter her from thinking it was me. And, to see, her send me a copy of my Discord server and then to also see another screenshot that somebody else sent, which I understand the motivation of that one too. And I've since talked to somebody that is connected to that person. And I understand the purpose of why it was sent. And it was not sent in a malicious way. But, I'm seeing these things on an Instagram live. And I'm sorry, I felt betrayed, and if someone wants to, I'm sorry, a feeling is a feeling and nobody can discount a feeling. And again, I've spoken to somebody connected to the person that sent the screenshot, and I understand, why they sent it. And I'm not upset because I now understand why they did it. And, but as for the Discord server, I can't understand why they thought that would be helpful. I mean, I don't know. But again, I did not accuse her because I didn't think it was her. And to see not one, not two, but 3 streams that discussed it, I was like, but I didn't name you. I never came out and said, PJ did this. I never at any time said her name. And for her, had she not gone on stream, no one ever would have known. It would have been between her and me. And by her getting up on a stream, and now, makes people think, well, did she give it on purpose? And I have heard people say that. So, any hate that she might have gotten was completely self-imposed, only because she was the one who brought that information forward. Um, so there was that situation. I did have somebody that did come into my DMs during this time, and it was somebody that I genuinely thought of as a friend. And, we were talking back and forth, and, you know, I thought they were being a friend. And what bothers me is from some of the things that I saw posted on Twitter, in the following days. And, I have no proof, but it some of the content of the tweets seems to align with some of the things that I had told her privately. Um, and that's all I'm going to say in regards to that particular part of it. But, you know, I got very kind of suspicious of people's motives after I saw the Discord server and the private DM. And so I kind of was pulling away from the person in the DMs because at this point I didn't know who to trust. I'd already had people coming forward to me saying that people in Discord servers had been taking screenshots to them. And I'm not talking about PJ. I've been given names and it wasn't PJ. Um, One of the people is a supporter of Real Entertainment News. I had said a couple things about her, but nothing particularly hateful. Um, I'd said that, she was in Waxy's stream, and that was only because I had thought that she had said in a stream that she had been. There's some other things that, and I don't know the content of the screenshots that were sent to her, and I don't feel a need to ask her. But, in the meantime, she and I have talked. She's a really sweet person. And it really frustrates me that, people went to her with screenshots and, they initially fostered hate with someone that I have since found out she's a sweet person. She and I've had some great conversations. But, people felt the need to again bring private things that I had said out of the Discord. And while I get it, there's nothing truly private on the internet. You do expect a certain level of privacy. And it hurt. And so at this point, I've got people coming from all angles saying, you know, we've seen your stuff and, blah, blah, blah. Or people had told them things that may or may not have been true. And it was just, it was a difficult situation. So I put out a statement and I kind of addressed some of the things. And this is before everything had come out with, where Katie Joy said that she knew that it wasn't me. And I put out a letter that kind of explained why I felt as though, you know, why I had that initial paranoia. And I mentioned how someone had contacted Real Entertainment News' sponsor, and he believed that it was me, and he did an absolutely scathing community tab on me. I became the subject of multiple streams. He discussed me, and it wasn't pleasant. And again, I said that the name was Jennifer, but there's 90 million Jennifers. At no point did I specifically say this is the person who did it. At no time. And this person initially did offer to come forward and tell him that she did it. And at the time I did tell her, don't bother. You know, I basically thought, dude, the damage is done. There's no point. But, I'm sorry. When somebody watches somebody get beaten down day after day over something that they had done, I honestly would have thought that, an honest and honorable person would have gone to, even knowing that they were going to take some heat, that they would have gone forward and sorry, headphones cut out. But I would have thought that an honest person would have gone forward and said, hey, this person didn't do it. It was me. Can you just, stop going after them? And they never did. They continued to allow him to believe that it was me. So For me to say that I was upset in my statement is completely valid. Here we were, um, at that point, we were 9 days out, and he still thought it was me. My name had still come up, when the Twitter account came down because, he already was upset about the sponsor. I took 100% of the blame for that as well, and that, I took the heat. I did the good thing. I did the good deed. But at a certain point, you would expect that someone wouldn't want to see someone continually harassed for something you had done. So I said, a Jennifer did it. I did not say Jennifer so and so did it. Well, in response to me saying that, I get a tweet from her that says, "Are you fucking serious? Coward. I have our DMs. You know numerous people called, and I didn't even give my name because they already knew who he was. It was my fault because you did a video the day before and inserted yourself all over the place, so maybe that's why he said it was you. I even told you I'd comment on his community tab. You are such a liar." Okay, good to know. Now, I'm also going to tell you how I would have handled the situation had I been in her place. Had I been the one that contacted that sponsor, and this person been the one that had gotten fingered, I would have gone to Real Entertainment News. I would have said, "Hey, it was me. Just stop harassing them." And then I would have gone to the person that he thought did it, and I would have said, "Hey, I did this. He thought I did it, but I went to him and or sorry, I would have gone to him and said, "Hey, I did it. I know you think so and so did it, but it was me. Can you please, just, stop the harassment towards them?" And then I would have gone towards the person that he had thought did it. And I'd be like, "Yeah, I did this. I talked to him. This is what I'm doing to rectify the situation." To contact me and say, "Hey, it happened. Should I do it?" I mean, what am I supposed to say to that anyway? Am I supposed to say, "Yeah, do it"? Because then I look like a bitch for that too. There was no good play to that. No matter how I came out of that, I was going to look like a bad guy. And that's just reality. There was no safe play. There was no good thing to do. Now, Real Entertainment News did ask me in the last few days to come out and tell him who it was. And yes, I did tell him who it was. And yes, I did show him the message. He was not supposed to show it on stream. I don't think he realized that. I don't know. But he did show it on stream. I apologize if she received any hatred for that. That being said, I took a lot of hatred myself. And, I've been sent direct messages chewing me out that, I am causing hatred towards, you know, an elderly person that has some health conditions. And it's like, but wait a minute, I have conditions of my own. Where was the concern for me? You know, I've been allowed to take all the heat for 2 weeks. Where was the concern for me? But, that's neither here nor there. But, for people to be telling me still that I'm a coward and a liar, I'm sorry, that's really disingenuous. And it's just wrong. Bottom line, it's wrong. You know, do I apologize for the screenshot being shown? I sure do. Am I sorry that he now knows who did it? I am not. I have no reason to, because I accepted the heat for a long time. And at a certain point, I'm not going to do it anymore. And it's not fair for people to, give me backlash or hate because I finally told the truth. How long was I supposed to keep being considered the person that did it? Indefinitely? Because that's not right. That's not right for anybody to have to be falsely accused for that long. I'm sorry. That's just it's hateful. That's all I can say. And that's all I'm going to say on that. So, so going back to the person that was in my DMs. after I went on streams the night that I found out that I no longer was considered a suspect, something which I have been brutally beaten down for as well. I went on a world tour of streams. I was asked I was asked to go on those panels. And I'm sorry. People go on panels all the time and nobody questions their motives. Nobody says a word. I mean, I can tell you about, certain people that are literally on somebody's panel every single day and nobody questions it. But, the day that I'm cleared of federal charges, I go on 3 streams and, I'm an attention seeking whore. I'm just, you know, trying to get my name out there. I've always wanted to insert myself, and that's all I'm doing. I mean, the things that I've seen are just disgusting, and it's unfair. But anyway, the next day I get a message, and it's a long message, and I see something about during several hours of live streams, you insisted that people should stop talking. Who should stop talking exactly? I'm hearing about bullying, verbal abuse, sharing of screenshots from private discords, backstabbings, subterfuge, and betrayal. Behavior that I would expect perhaps from schoolgirls, not grown women. I'm guessing there's been a lot of talking. How much have you been involved? Okay, back to screenshots. I did not send any to AZ. For one thing, I was out of that Discord server long, early. I did not send screenshots. I have been accused of it. I did not. Yeah. I held you in high regard. I'm now appalled, confused, angry, deeply hurt, and disappointed. In what? What did I do? I I am baffled. I am floored. Did I get on streams in the heat of the moment when I had just found out I wasn't going to jail? You know, I don't think anybody realizes, just how stressed out I was. And, to hear Katie Joyce say that, no, I didn't do it, and she knew that I didn't, you know, yeah, I talked to people about it. I could finally talk. I hadn't talked on anybody's stream. I hadn't talked in messages because I honestly, I didn't know what was going to go back to Katie and what could be misconstrued. And, so when I found this out, Kay Baxter asked for me to get on and talk about how I felt about it. And AZ asked me to, get on, talk about how I felt about it. And, Little Red said, go ahead and hop on her panel. And, I don't regret that. I asked and I got the chance to speak out. And that's something I hadn't been able to really do. And, for my motives to be questioned it's hurtful. But again, those were used against me. And, then I'm told I publicly malign people and I owe them commensurately public level of truth and contrition. And again, for what? When I said about the Discord server, I did not name a name. When I spoke about the person that contacted Real Entertainment News, I said to Jennifer, out of, how many in the country? How many in the world? I these people were not publicly outed by me. You know, they were the ones that publicly outed themselves. Now, as for Josh, yes, I did say his name because he goes on his stream and acted like he'd never seen that server. And do I expect that he would have defended me? I mean, no. But he could have said, "Yeah, I was in that server, I never saw anything hateful. It's just people talking. The circle of trust was just a place where really trusted people could talk because, our private stuff was getting out and, there was talk of a mole." You know, I didn't understand why it took Lady Libra saying something in the chat for him to say, "Well, yeah, I was in there." But then he backpedaled and he's like, "Well, I wasn't really in it, so I didn't really see what was going on." That's not true. In the beginning, he was in there a lot. When he stopped going in it is when everybody stopped going in it. Everybody kind of found other servers and it went dormant. And, I don't feel like it's defending someone. It's just, stating a fact. The fact was he was in server. The fact was he knew that it was not a hate server. And in my opinion, it wouldn't have for him to not at least say that is hurtful. So yes, I did specifically name his name. Why? Because what he did was public. And I will not apologize for that, you know? I see no reason to. You know, what he did was public. I handled it publicly. What happened behind the scenes, I kept names out of. I don't if I malign somebody, I'm sorry, but shit happens. So, that was the private. As for messages regarding as to whether people contacted me. The allegations were made on Thursday. Then within a few hours, I was contacted by 3 people and Charlotte. And I can show the time and the date of these messages. And I have blocked their information. I don't want them outed. I don't feel that is, the responsible thing to do. But one contacted me Saturday at 8 in the morning, and that particular one I do feel was I think it was sincere. Just from the tone of it, I do feel like she was being sincere. I have seen no reason to believe that it wasn't. But again, I will not out her just for her privacy. I had a second message that came in at a little bit after 2 o'clock on Saturday. The person that one came from, I have since seen comments that they have made about me that took place during this. And yeah. Wow. I had a third message that came in at approximately 4 o'clock. Again, I have seen things that this person has said behind my back. And it was a totally disingenuous message. Completely. Again, I have seen what she said, and I will discuss that. And then there was Charlotte. Charlotte got onto her apology stream today and implied that she had reached out early on and, that she made that community page. When the fact is she contacted me at 5:30. From what I understand, Katie had actually already started saying that I wasn't involved. That I cannot I can't speak from knowledge on that. I had heard it through the grapevine. Apparently by the time Kay Baxter's stream came out, it was public knowledge. Um, you know, I don't know. But to me, to come out and offer to defend after 2 days of silence, after, watching tweet after tweet after tweet, after watching Instagram lives completely tearing me apart, and then to get on an apology stream and say, "Well, I don't understand why she's upset. I reached out to her." You reached out at the 11th hour. You know, I had reason to be upset, and it's hurtful for a friend to basically get on a video and imply that I'm misconstruing or, further adding to hate that's being received. That's hurtful because I'll tell you what, the hate that I have received is I could have produced a ton more screenshots, but I could be on here for hours. But it was 5:22 my time, and Kay Baxter's stream I think started it started at 7. So we're talking, an hour and a half, maybe. So that's how that went down. Now, I then, I kept quiet. I went into Ren's stream the next day. He was offering apologies, and I wanted to admit my part of it, and I wanted to explain why I was upset, and I think we had a good dialogue. And I have since been absolutely trapped. Well, we weren't even supposed to talk about him, and you got on a stream. Okay, there's a huge difference. We weren't supposed to be derogatory. We weren't supposed to be offensive. There's nothing. There was nothing said about trying to make the peace. And I was literally bashed for that as well. Why did you go in his stream? I, when someone's offering an olive branch and trying to accept accountability, I don't understand how it's considered wrong to, at least try to accept it. And, he and I've had no problem since. Why? Because I'm not getting into streams. I'm not getting on panels. I'm not publicly denouncing him. And I don't think people understand. Had they just stopped, it would have ended. And that was the whole point. I thought, okay, if I do this, people are going to see it and maybe they'll stop too. And, maybe we can have some calm. Maybe things can settle down. But after that, I went completely silent. I didn't say anything. And then I see PJ stream. And then I see another stream. I believe there was another creator that did it, and I'm not going to name him because I'm going from memory. But then, I'm on a trip back to deal with some family business, and I get home and I see, dude, you need to see what was said about you in PJ stream. And I was like, huh? And, I see person after person after person just dragging me and degrading me and cutting me down. And I wasn't even there to defend myself. I mean, yeah, it was more like a monster truck mowing friends down. Huh? Um, don't get me started with Jennifer. Jen was in KJ's live so far up her bum bum. And then she was in Uni's stream too. Okay, wait a minute. So I'm not allowed to go into streams anymore? And I sure as heck wasn't comfortable in any of ours because I pretty much was, persona non grata. Um she was completely betrayed and thrown under the bus, but I guess we're supposed to forget that. Okay, whatever. She outright lied, dragged so and so several times. I mean, it just didn't end. And then I see somebody actually have they attacked my work ethic as a nurse. And that, I don't think there could have been anything more painful to hear. Can you, where was it? Um, she has no shame. Imagine being treated by her in a hospital and someone responding with, no, thank you, laugh out loud. I devoted everything to my patients, and I miss them every fucking day that I can't work. And to watch somebody, it's one thing to attack, actions that I may have done, but to get on a live chat and attack me and my work ethic when you know nothing about, how I care for my patients and the way I treat them, to me that was I can't even begin to go into how I feel about that. And, it just kept going, and it's so funny because at some point I think someone said something about dogpiling, and I'm like, "Okay, and what would you call, an entire live stream?" And nobody stopped them. Nobody stood up for me. It was just jab after jab after jab. A lot of people missing ethics and morals. You know, it just hurt. And so, I tried to put some of that in the past. And then it was brought to my attention a couple days ago. Somebody didn't want me to see what was happening behind my back when it was happening because they knew how upset I was and how hurt I was. And it was only in the last couple days that they showed me screenshots of what was being said in the Discord server, by people I considered friends. There was things like, um, think they're out of order. Are they out of order? Um, Let me go back. Um, there was things like I think I'm missing a screenshot, but it basically said that it was clear that I was involved, that I was acting suspicious, so obviously I was involved. Um, I highly suspect that she's in with Aaron. I've had suspicions. Um, Somebody needs to warn a certain person if they like me. I did something that this person caught to. There's more screenshots, but these are people that were supposed to be my friends. And ironically, some of the people that, slid into my DMs acting like they were my friend are people that were in these Discord messages, people that literally were cutting me to shreds. And they come into my DMs acting like they're my friend. Now, how does this fall back to Charlotte? Because this is in her server. What occurred with AZ, what happened with me, happened in her server, and she's now getting up on, on stream on a video, acting like, oh, I didn't know it was happening, or I tried to reach out, or whatever she wants to say, and it's hurtful. For her to get up there and say, "Well, I don't understand why, Jennifer was hurt. I was trying to be her friend." But were you? I have the same people that made these comments in her server, one of which made a video that kind of implied that there could be guilt. She didn't come out and say that, and she said something along the lines of, well, let's the authorities, do their job. But there was other comments that were made that, in my opinion, implied that she kind of thought that I could be guilty. And it hurts because these are people that I had been talking to for months, and I don't feel like I ever did anything to cause them to doubt me, but apparently I did. There are people that have, questioned, me going on streams, questioned me talking, people that literally talk in streams, and I might have made like 10 combined statements, and those were picked apart. And these are some of Charlotte's strongest supporters. And as a friend, I would think that she would have done what she could to say, "Hey, you guys just need to back off. You need to stop." And it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening for AZ, it wasn't happening for me, and it wasn't happening for Julie. And, long story short, and this video went way longer than I had ever intended. Um, that wasn't really the point. But I've watched myself get dragged and maligned and degraded over and over and over. I have lost friends. I have had, friends that weren't directly involved in these particular things that have been driven off because of things that they have been told or that they have heard. You know, while things aren't necessarily being talked about publicly, although that chat was very public, and the streams about me were very public, but a lot of this has been done behind closed doors. A lot have been in direct messages, a lot have been in private Discord servers. A lot of it is, AZ and Julie and I are starting to, and Christ conflict for that matter. We look like, we're doing all this publicly and we're being mean and we're being hateful. But the thing is, at this point, it kind of has to be public because what people are seeing over and over and over is through these private communications of the people that we're being portrayed as. And, you know, having been blocked by people that I considered friends, it's not like you can reach out. I mean, I had 5 people block me almost simultaneously. Clearly, that's not a coincidence. I have since had to block numerous other ones myself because of messages that I have received. Um, I've been accused of being harassing. I've been accused of being threatening. And I'm like, how? How are you harassing and threatening when you literally don't talk? Um, you know, AZ always says it, half lies are whole half half truths are whole lies. And that's exactly what's happened. A lot of half truths have been out there, and they're being accepted by certain people as the gospel truth, and it's not. So, again, long story short, and this went way longer than I ever intended. I thought I'd come on for a little bit and just be done with it. Um, Please, this is not in any way to foster hate. If Charlotte has received hate because of all this, I am genuinely sorry. I don't want any of that towards her. I hold no ill will of any kind towards her. I still care about her. To go back in time, I would still help her again today. You know, I would still do everything in my power to try to help her. I genuinely think she's a good person. I don't think she ever in any way wanted things to end the way they did. And neither did AZ, neither did I, neither did Christ conflict. None of us wanted that to happen. And it's really unfortunate that that's the way it ended. So, I just I want everybody that has supported me, I want them to know just how much that means to me. I have received some very positive comments. I've had people reach out that I never thought I'd hear from. And that means a lot to me. I have also I've lost some people that it genuinely hurts. So it's kind of gone both ways. But, you know, I wish no harm on anyone. I wish no harm on anyone's channel. Clearly, this isn't about clicks and links or clicks and views. I have like 250 subs. It to me, it is what it is. Um, I have no aspirations of being a big streamer anyway. This is just a matter of clearing my name, of clearing the names of people that have inadvertently gotten hurt. So an hour was not in the cards, but if you stuck with me this long, you know, thank you. Thank you for being a friend. To the people that I've lost, I'll miss you. I'll miss talking to you. I'll miss hanging out in Discord. I'll miss, chatting about stupid things, seeing pictures of cats, seeing, pictures of trips, learning about you, learning about your families. I will always miss that. And I will always, you know, I'll always cherish the time that we were in Discords. And again, I have no ill will. I have no ill will towards anyone. And I wish I could understand, and I probably never will. Um, Thank you to Julie and AZ for having my back from day one. Thank you to the people that have come forward in the time since. All the support has been incredible. And, I hope to not lose people because of this. If I do, again, I treasured every one of you. I will always treasure every one of you. So I hope you stick around. I plan to do some things in the future that are different. I'm kind of over the whole Katie Joy thing. I'm over the drama community. I'm kind of hoping to go in some different directions. But I hope you stick around. But if not, thank you so much for all the support you've given me in the past. And, if I see you in some streams in the future, say hey. My Twitter stayed the same. Some people have my Instagram. And, best wishes to you all. And, you know, yeah, I'll end it here. Thanks, everybody. Bye.